Christmas is here again, and what better time could there be to look back at some of the missing TV finds of 2014? It's a 15-minute Missing Believed Wiped, so brace yourself. We didn't have to go all the way to Nigeria to find clips of missing TV shows, but here's a missing clip of Nigerians watching missing TV shows. Yeah, there'll be more of that later. Earlier this year, we screened what was thought to be the only existing episode of the BBC Two drama series This Man Craig, starring John Cairney as schoolteacher Ian Craig, until this one turned up, instantly doubling the existing episode count. In The Time Wasters, Craig goes on the hunt for a truant who prefers the world of business to the world of books.
Pussy, what are you? Come on, we cat. Oh, you scabby old thing. What are you? You wanting something?
No, sorry, it's the wrong door.
Right, well.
I was looking for Mrs. Bell.
Oh, you are, were you? What did you want her for?
I wanted to talk to her about our son, Huey. I'm his schoolteacher.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake, young fella. The Bells don't live here. Oh, no. They flitted.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that.
But 2 months past it would be. Just up to north they did.
You couldn't tell me where they up to north to?
The other end of Strath there, up Loch Endway, you know. What was that place? I'll mind it in a minute. Bannockburn Road, that was it.
Bannockburn Road.
The number's in the tip of my tongue. 40, that was it, number 40.
40 Bannockburn Road. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. No bother at all.
Thank you. Good morning.
In the world of missing telly, there are some things which seemed better as a memory than a reality. Or was it just a bad dream?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Nice to see you, nice. Did they do well?
Please kill me now. Still, it's not all bad news. Despite Jack Shepherd's secret love of the brother Lees, the same tape features 10 minutes of the far more interesting and wiped Second City First play, The Actual Woman, written by Jack and featuring Tom Bell. This hasn't been seen since 1974.
Norton Conyers, Crowwood, Wildernesswood, such beautiful names, aren't they?
Well, I think so.
Yeah?
Didn't he say so?
Yeah.
Well, you were born in these parts.
True. Unlike you, though, I no longer choose to inhabit them.
I've no regrets.
Really?
No. None to speak of.
Here it is. Look, just above the Cave of Witherick. It's marked on the map. So if we set off in about that direction, we should be about 200 or 300 yards from the car.
Oh, I reckon you'll be about right. Carl will be over there. Where did you say?
Just here, look.
Oh, I see.
Now, don't be taken in, Carol, my dear. I'm not at all sure that our Alec can actually read, never mind maps.
Sydney.
Well, you weren't exactly a success at school, were you, son?
Oh,
I tell a lie. He once got 32% for woodwork. Even the caretaker was amazed.
Don't.
And I do believe that the authorities awarded him a special prize, in that they encouraged him to leave school a year early to pursue an agricultural career.
Take no notice.
Never have.
Forgive me, Brother Alec, dear. I'm not being strictly fair, am I? But honestly, I think you should have stayed on at school as a mascot. He does a very useful impression of a Clydesdale. Usually in the company of people he considers to be sensitive.
Sydney, that's enough.
Hey, you know the mistake you made, son? Was to stay.
I was needed at home.
Excuses.
I'm going back to the car now.
Good. While you're there, fetch the camera, fetch the children. Not necessarily in that order, and bring them back here, and we'll all take pictures of each other in colour. Yeah. All sorts of different combinations. Now, blurred images of people leaning at 45 degrees to the horizontal. Know what I mean? Usual style. And then you'll be able to show them off at your next Tupperware or dinner party, neither of which I shall attend. God, I could do with a drink. The trouble with nature, it's so damn uncivilised.
Back to 1968 now, and the newly returned episode of the BBC series Vendetta.
Hello, Major Kara. This is Pietro Tasca speaking. I'm at the flat of Giulia Musetta. That's 41 Via Maggio. She's dead. I've killed her.
Bathroom door open?
No.
What about the bedroom door?
Well, that's how I saw him.
Oh, yes. So, she leaves the front door virtually unlocked and the bedroom door wide open while she... that's strange, isn't it? Did she hear you come in?
I don't know. When I saw him in there, I threw him out. Then she heard me.
Did you have to use force?
No, he seemed quite willing to leave. He didn't know who I was.
Oh, he wasn't a regular?
No.
Uh-huh. Thought you were playing the old badger game.
Badger game?
That's English slang. You know, the outraged husband comes home, finds the wife with another man, they blackmail him. But it wasn't like that. That's not why you had a key, why she didn't have the door locked.
No.
Why did you have the key?
I told you.
I see. Were you keeping her, or was she keeping you?
She's got money of her own.
She had money of her own. She's dead. I think that you were living on her immoral earnings and playing the badger game in between
No,
times.
I told her she had to stop. I loved her.
So how did you know he wasn't a regular? You said you used to phone before you came round. You didn't know who the regulars were. How do you know he wasn't a regular? You see, that makes a difference, doesn't it? Because if this is a sudden crime of passion, that's only going to get you 3 or 4 years, isn't it? But if it's the deliberate murder of the woman that was keeping you, that's going to get you life, isn't it?
She said she picked him up in the Via Veneto. She said she'd never seen him before.
All right, come here. She picked him up. Who do these belong to, then?
I don't know. She always kept close here from the old days before she met me.
But not anymore.
I thought not.
Do you keep anything here? Hey? Suits, shirts, underwear, anything?
No.
No. What do you do for a living?
Commercial artist.
Successful?
Yes, I
Give her a lot
suppose
of
so.
presents?
Some.
What?
Does it matter?
You don't remember?
No, is it
Well, you
matter?
better remember! Because we're going to have to take an inventory of this place. Of everything that's in here to see what's missing.
Why should anything be missing?
Well, whoever did this, you know, may have walked off with her
I
bag.
did this!
Well, whoever killed her.
I
then.
killed her!
Well, then maybe you walked off
For
with her
heaven's
valuables.
sake, why should I bother to come back there?
Well, if you knew you were going to be caught anyway, it's a thought, isn't it?
No, I killed her. I panicked, and when I realized what I'd done, I rang the police.
Yeah, what time was this?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. You sure you didn't black out completely?
Quite
Because that
sure.
woman in there's been dead for over 2 hours, I'd say. Now, why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you admit that you're trying to make this seem like a sudden crime of passion instead of the petty, sordid little murder for gain or revenge it really is? You'll have to admit it in
I
the
mean,
end.
no, it wasn't like that.
Did you ever give her a photograph?
No, it could have been
Did she
dangerous.
ever ask you for one?
Yes, I always refused.
Could she have got one without you knowing it?
She might have.
A good studio photograph?
I doubt it.
Huh? From Petro with love. And a very good likeness, isn't it?
Did you get that?
It was here. Didn't you know?
Telescopic lens, something like that. How do I know?
Yes. Yes, perhaps. Well, is it coming home to you at last? You've murdered a woman that loved you. Loved you enough to forge your signature on a photograph she had to give to herself because you refused to let her have one.
Recently discovered lurking in the collection of Monash University in Melbourne, Australia, was this 1964 edition of Basis for Decision. It was shown less than 3 months after the launch of BBC Two as part of the Tuesday term strand of educational programmes. With Christmas fast approaching, you could do a lot worse than listen to Professor Rivet, yes, that is his real name, and Mrs. Rivet's method of cooking the Christmas dinner.
We'll assume she can call in her husband to give her a hand, but only when it's really necessary. And here's an arrow diagram of the way her activities could go. First, she buys supplies. Then she has to prepare the meat, peel the potatoes, prepare the vegetables. After preparing the meat and peeling the potatoes, she puts the potatoes with the meat and puts them both in the oven to cook. After preparing the vegetables, she cooks them. The meat, potatoes and vegetables are all served up together and the meal is eaten. How should she organize all this to do it as quickly as possible? Well, first, we estimate the time to do each job. Then we look for the shortest time to get through the whole network of jobs, and this, oddly enough, is determined by the jobs which take the longest.
Yeah, and she'd probably get it done a lot quicker if you got that flip chart out of the kitchen.
Altitude now 21,000 feet, still looking very good.
Possibly the holy grail for some in terms of missing TV would be the return of the British television coverage of the moon landing in 1969. The return of this domestic recording got us quite excited this year. Sadly, it doesn't contain any footage of the discussion in the studio, but you can feel the mounting excitement.
Tend to lose as we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens. Roger. Okay, looks like it's holding. Roger, we got good data. Seven minutes, 30 seconds into the burn. Altitude 16,300 feet. Eagle, Houston, is descent to fuel to monitor, over. 42. Altitude 13,005. Velocity 9,100 feet per second. Made it, switch over time, please, Houston. Roger, stand by. You're looking great at 8 minutes.
It might have been one giant leap for mankind, but sadly down here on Earth we were still struggling trying to set the video timer correctly. Thank goodness for other domestic formats like EVR. That never went wrong.
By Peter Scott.
And now, from ATV, in glorious black and white.
Good afternoon. Hugh Johns reporting from the Wolves' Den at Molineux. Last season, they ended an incredible run of 8 consecutive defeats at the hands of Everton by taking 4 points off them. But it's a very strange-looking Everton side that appears today, hoping to restore their old mastery over the Molineux men. So many big names are missing. England's Wright, LeBone and Harvey. The under-23 caps, Henry Newton, Kendall and Husband. Half a side, cruelly injured. Replacements Scott, Kenny and Darricott fill vital positions with hardly any experience behind them. They cannot total 24 games between them. Everton haven't yet scored away in the league, and a 0-0 draw at Ipswich is their only point, though they've won twice at home. Dave Johnson is the only lad in this team who has scored this season. He's been replacing an off-form Royal and got the match winner against Manchester United. But his goal at Southampton during the week could not keep Everton in the League Cup. Wolves also went out of the Cup after holding a 2-goals lead at Main Road, but they keep the same team. Wolves are unbeaten at home, but have dropped points to Spurs and Manchester United. John Richards and Danny Hegan are the only changes from the side that beat Everton here last December. They replaced McCalliog and Gould. Derek Dugan knocked in both goals in that 2-0 win, and he now needs only 19 more to beat Peter Doherty's total of 199 league goals, the present record for an Irishman.
That's it for this brief look at just some of the missing programme recoveries of 2014. This footage, incidentally, is taken from a previously lost 1967 edition of History, looking at mass media. If you'd like to see the rest of it, I hope you'll join us in March for our next event, which looks at television on television. Until then, have a happy Christmas, and here's to the return of more long-lost television footage in 2015.